everybody, it's Muscle Car Campy, and we're here today with a gorgeous 71 Firebird Formula 350. You know, sometimes we wonder if the second generation F-bodies weren't developed under some sort of a dark cloud. They came to market 6 months later than expected in February of '70. This was about the same time that pony car sales and muscle car sales in general were going down. Then along comes 1971. You've got September 14th, 1970, just as the 71 models were supposed to be rolling out of the assembly line, the UAW went on strike. That completely shut down the Norwood assembly plant. They lost 2 months of production. Insane, right? Then, for 1972, you also had the situation the UAW went on strike again. There was a recession going on. Sales were terrible, and frankly, you had to wonder if the cars would survive. But survive they did, and by the late 70s, they were selling better than ever. Yeah, despite all the doom and gloom I just laid on you. We promise this video will really cheer you up and make you feel good. This car was born out of necessity, the new reality, if you will, when emissions regulations, compression drops, and a shifting market were all conspiring against it. It was really conspiring against Pontiac, which was known for absolute all-out performance. And the EPA, the insurance industry, a lot of these things all just said, dial it back a little, folks. And they did. The Formula 350 was born in 1971, and it only came with a 2-barrel carburetor. Still, this was a great car. There's a lot of options on our feature car. I'm going to tell you all about it right now. You know, as we said, the 350 2-barrel was the only 350 offered that year in the Formula. Mike's done his best under here to keep everything looking as nicely as possible. It does have an Edelbrock intake and a Holley 670 Street Avenger carb, but the manifold's been painted blue to match the engine. It's got the correct valve covers on it. Yeah, the air cleaner and sticker is not factory, but I like the way he's kept things like the AC gas filter on there. The air conditioner does work. It's been converted over. It's got headers. It's got some wires. So it definitely makes a lot more than the factory 250 ponies. Mike estimates it's about 330. Hopefully in a few minutes we'll get the chance to burn some rubber in this thing. We'll let you know if it is. This car came from the factory just loaded with options. Besides the vinyl top and the Rally 2 rims, you've got a full complement of gauges, the sports steering wheel, F41 suspension, 308 gears with a safety track rear, remote mirror, AM FM radio, one speaker in the back, baby. It's not stereo. But just like I said, I dig it. It's got the console, it's got the turbo 350 automatic. And as we said, from the factory, it was only a 350 2-barrel under the hood. That was the new reality, folks. Insurance companies were clamping down. They had to figure out a way to move these cars. Well, the trunk mat is a reproduction and not original to the car. The jack, the Space Saver spare, and if we were to take the Space Saver out, the inflator kit underneath, the canister, that is original to the car. So pretty cool inside the trunk here to see a Space Saver like that. Stylistically, GM's designers added rectangular air extractors to the front fenders. They were much lower on the body than the Trans Am's air extractors, but they were indeed functional. And they also, on this car, are surrounded by the tape stripe that was brand new for 1971. You can really see in this section of video how the light hitting it makes it turn from black to gold. Sometimes it looks white. Everybody, Muscle Car Campy here with owner Mike Polito. We're going out in a 71 Formula 350. I love looking out over that dual scoop hood, Mike. That's got to be the first thing that you see when you get in this car. You just got to love it.
Yep, I love it. It's very visceral.
Yes. And even though it wasn't functional that year, God, it looks so good out there. I mean, Yeah, they got a little bigger, these cars, for 70, 71. But man, the styling on it was just about perfect. Bill Mitchell said he finally had a car he'd feel proud driving in Europe when these came out. He liked it much better than the first Gen F bodies. Bill Mitchell was, of course, the styling czar at GM from 1958 all the way through the mid-70s, late 70s actually. And I can see why he'd be proud of this car. If people work for me, came up with something like this, I'd give them all a raise. Now, Mike, how long have you had this car?
I think since 2015 or 14. I can't remember offhand.
And did you restore this car?
The motor was rebuilt, and the rest of it had to be done. It was painted the incorrect color, which was red, and it needed just about everything other than the motor. It's been completely gone through since then, you know.
Resale red, as we call it in the business.
Yeah, I don't know why they would change it from this color, because the original color is so gorgeous, the Canyon Copper Poly. But they did.
And you said you added the deck lid spoiler on this car, which looks fantastic. It almost looks naked without it. Although the lines are so pure on this car, it does look good with it.
Well, actually, it was there.
It was
there when I got the car,
but
yes.
It wasn't original to this car.
No, but it was never original to this car.
Gotcha. It's definitely not making 250 horsepower anymore.
It's been rebuilt. It had her 670 Street Avenger Holly, Edelbrock manifold, AGI ignition. It was a nice rebuild. That's the one thing I got with the car that was really worthwhile. And it's the original block. I don't know what cam it is. I just know that it's a roller.
So it's got the original block, the original heads.
Yeah, everything else.
Who knows what cam? But it runs nice. It starts right up. I noticed that was a big deal.
Yeah, everything works. I mean, you put the key in there, you put your foot to the floor once, it goes right on fast idle. Jim, as you know me, I'm fastidious about having everything in my car work, every gauge, every light, even the cigarette lighter. The AC was converted to 134. It's really a pleasure to drive this car. It's very tight, handles great for a 53-year-old car.
What have you done to the suspension? Anything?
No, just I redid the suspension with new. It's factory, except has new shocks, upper and lower control arms, all rebushed. Everything is the way it was.
It drives gorgeous. I mean, it goes right down the road the way it's supposed to, and it feels exactly like I remember every, second-gen Firebird drive. I mean, just fantastic.
Yeah, this is a really nice driving car. I mean, this, for me, as you know, I've had a few cars. This is probably my favorite car to drive out of all of them, because it has every creature comfort that I could ever want. And believe it or not, from 71, the handling capacity and braking capacity, it has factory front disc brakes. It's just phenomenal. I mean, the thing handles unbelievable.
It's light years ahead of your 67 Grand Sport from the suspension standpoint. And I noticed, like I said, when we pulled the car out of the garage, you got rid of your 67 GS, your 69 Grand Sport, and your 70. But you still have this car. This is a special car, isn't it?
Yeah, I like this car. I'm older now, and the reason I did finally get rid of my GS's was that they were all nut and bolt restos, and there are a lot of maintenance, a lot of work, and quite frankly, I just can't handle it. The beauty of this car is, I mean, it's a gorgeous car, but it's great to drive. And it's really just a terrific driver. You can go anywhere. With the 308s, you can do 80 miles an hour on the interstate. It doesn't wander. It's just really a great car to drive.
Does this have a variable ratio steering box?
Yeah, I think it has. They all came with the quick ratio. I think it it was 17 to 1 instead of 21 to 1 or something like that, but I'm not absolutely certain. But you can feel it.
Oh, no doubt.
Steering is really great in this car.
Yeah.
It's right on the spot.
It absolutely is. It's just fabulous. And like I said, it runs strong. The steering is spot on.
The ride is terrific. It's not a hard riding car for
And
this gen.
And you told me, you said you did Hot Rod Power Tour 3,000 miles with this car in
Yep.
2022.
Yep, 2022. I did over 3,000 miles on the Hot Rod Power Tour in this car. I've done the Power Tour 4 times in this car in 2022.
It's spectacular. It's absolutely spectacular.
It's very well sorted.
It is, very much so. Like you said, every gauge works. I mean, you know.
Yeah, it's a terrific driving car. I mean,
Fabulous driving experience. And like I said, I could just look out at that hood all night long.
you'd be hard pressed to find a classic muscle car that drives and runs like this. I don't know how to describe it. All of the ones that I've had have been very well sorted, but this car is just phenomenal.
And I would assume, since it's not all original under the hood, you don't mind driving it as much. I mean, it is a numbers matching car, but you've made it so you can play with it a little bit.
Yeah, I needed to give it a little pop, a little bit of performance. It's not a fabulous performer from a dead stop. It'll definitely break the tires, but it's got some top end, I'll tell you. And when you're rolling along, you put your foot into it, she does the boogie. I don't know if you guys notice on this video, but if you're in the car with Jim and I, and we're windows down, but you won't even hear this car make a squeak or a rattle. There's nothing.
Mike, is there one thing you would change on this car if you could, or is it just perfect to you the way it is?
I might like to have a stick shift, maybe a 5-speed would be kind of nice, but